Welcome to a very, very early WTBS Super Bowl preview. We'll be talking Championship Sunday and then go over the Super Bowl a little bit. Boys, what's up? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Doing great, man. Had a great weekend of football. Championship Sunday was no disappointment. There's some upset sprinkled in there. And if you consider the Chiefs upsetting the I'm already blanking out on who they beat. The Chiefs on beating the Ravens. They were underdogs technically going into that game. But yeah, we'll get into it later. But good Championship Sunday. Glad to be here to chop it up with you guys, though.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed after that conference final Sunday. I didn't come out the way I wanted as far as the teams that won, but nonetheless, here to go over it. Watch Patrick Mahomes in another Super Bowl and root against that mother.
Shit, man. I'm thinking what everybody's thinking too. Nobody wanted Patty to go. We wanted Lamar. This was gonna be the year. We didn't get that. So now I'm gonna fucking say it one time and one time only. And I'll probably say it wrong and I don't care. With gang, Niner gang. Because I do not want the Swifties to win the Super Bowl, bro. So 9-9 Niner gang. That's why I wear the red.
There's no way you're a Cowboys fan talking 9-9 Niner gang.
You said crazy. Fly Eagles, fly
earlier this year.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
that's why we record the podcast.
We'll probably have to run back that tape.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find that for me because I definitely wouldn't say that.
I have to run back that tape.
It was on episode 79 for sure.
The only time I'd say it is against Patty. So.
All right.
I had to let it out.
Let's get into that first game. 17-10, the Chiefs win. Roland, I'm going to kick it to you first. I want to know what you thought of the game and why the Ravens lost this game, or did the Chiefs really win this game? Tell me.
No, for sure. The Chiefs, first of all, they won this game. I'll give them their due later. But first, I want to focus on the team that lost the game because they were the 4-point favorites. I think that's what they kicked off at. It was like -4. They were over -200 on the money line. So they were the favorites coming into this game, the better team all year, 13-5, the number 1 seed, had the MVP in Lamar Jackson at home. Nonetheless, I just have a couple of numbers that I want to focus on. 6. That's the number of times that running backs touched the ball and carried the ball in this game. 3, they ran the ball 3 times on early downs throughout the whole game. 28, that's the ranking of the Kansas City Chiefs defense. 182, that's the number of yards the Chiefs gave up the week before. And 229, that's how many rushing yards the Ravens had the week prior against the Texans in their victory in 34-10 in the divisional round. What I'm getting at here is the game plan baffled me. I'll get to Lamar Jackson later, but the game plan, just watching it, didn't make sense. They abandoned the run. That's what that's their bread and butter. I know you got to change it up a little bit in the playoffs, but it just looks like the Ravens kind of like outsmarted themselves in this game and didn't stick to what got them there. Lamar Jackson was heating up on his legs, and, it was setting up the pass game with the read option, finding guys over the top when the defense has to bring up the safeties and, really focus on Lamar in the run game. But getting to Lamar, he didn't have his best game either. So I know he was passing the ball a lot. That's not really his forte. He was a little hesitant trying to come out of the pocket and run the ball. There were some opportunities missed there, but the Ravens completely besides themselves. Haven't even talked about the penalties. Complete debacle on the Ravens side. But the Chiefs, some teams just know how to win games. We talked about it last week. The Chiefs, instead of outsmarting ourselves every offseason, trying to bet against them or find a team that will take them down, might as well just get on their side. And then we all chose the Ravens. So just crazy. Patrick Mahomes got off to a hot start, really shook the Ravens up from the beginning. So hats off to them. But got to look at the Ravens, 60-40, Lamar Jackson, coaching staff kind of game plan, losing this game for me. So that's how I look at it.
Ben, Roland talked about a key number. He said 6 touches for the running back. That's unacceptable here. Ben, what do you make of this game?
I mean, prior to the game, I will say that I had said that those running backs weren't going to cut it. They really didn't get the opportunity. But, I mean, Lamar was the leading rusher for the season for them. And I kind of compare it to playoff basketball, where in the playoffs, those easy buckets, those one-on-one things really don't fly in the playoffs. And I thought the Ravens running backs just aren't playoff caliber running backs. They didn't get the opportunities like Roland highlighted. But overall, I think this game was just on Lamar, man. Like, I know that Zay Flowers had that big miscue, fumbling the ball, but he was the only reason that they had a chance. He would have had
The taunt.
on the day. You're talking about an MVP guy here, and you put up one touchdown. That interception at the end was horrible. That's a very bad interception into triple coverage. And then, there's people arguing about a penalty there. Like, the ball should have never been thrown there. There's no excuse. I'm not so against the game plan of keeping the ball in Lamar's hands because you always want it in your best player's hands. I would compare those Ravens running backs to Singletary. And I mean, you know how I feel about Singletary, but I know Gus Edwards has been able to get it done in big games, but they're just not the guys that really move the needle. And you need to go and do something like, I mean, it's unfortunate about J.K. Dobbins, but you saw the Niners go and get a Christian McCaffrey. Like, if you're going to hang your hat on that, you have to have the bell cow. There's Derrick Henry's a free agent. We'll see if he can go and run tough. Maybe the Ravens have some interest. But I would say that's what they need to do. They need to find themselves a running back to pair up there with Lamar because it's too much of a carousel. They really were using the hell out of Hill, and that was really surprising. I know Roland and I had talked about his props being like him and at the carries, but for them, I like keeping the ball in Lamar's hands. It's unfortunate that he wasn't able to produce and get the win. They had so many chances. And I'm going to say the Ravens lost this game, not that the Chiefs won it. It was bad. The penalties from a Harbaugh team, unacceptable. You would have never guessed, bro. They were bad penalties, and they were all personal fouls. It was really bad by the Ravens.
Ron, Lamar lets the Ravens down once again. What do you make of this, man? I mean, at what point do you kind of hold the leash a little tighter on him because he's not getting it done in the big games?
Boss, I thought I was watching the Dallas Ravens, bro. I mean, if you look at the game, that's exactly what it was. It's the same thing that the Cowboys do, man. They kind of hang around a little bit, give you hope. Maybe they cut it to 17-14 and then they can come back. And then what happens? Dak throws a pick. Lamar throws a pick. No running game. Defense is supposed to be great, but gives up 17 points in the first half, albeit they didn't, let Kansas City score in the second half. But it was just a pot of miscues and BS and everything you're not supposed to do in a playoff game. And I'll keep it simple. I've been thinking about this, and it's just I gotta see it to believe it. Because all this year, I actually got back on the Dak train, and I proved myself wrong. Because I have to see it to believe it. He choked. Lamar, same thing, bro. I was high on him, MVP. I was giving him all his flowers, saying this was his year. And it's just you got to see it to believe it with these guys. And they're not doing it, whether it's they're in their own head, whether the game plan is wrong. It's just, hey, man, you're QB1. You're the faces of the league. You got to go out there and perform. And he flat out did not perform. We have to keep all those things about him potentially being great still on the back burner, a.k.a. the other guy that I don't like either, Josh Allen. These are all guys that are stars and not superstars. And I think this year just proved to me that I'm never going to get on any train again. I'm never going to get on any, MVP race or anything like that because all these guys just let me down,
That's
bro.
cap. That's cap. You're going to be on the
They
Joe
let me
Burrow
down.
train as soon as he's healthy.
I agree with you guys. Lamar Jackson did not have his best game at all. Like he had a lot of miscues. He was missing guys that were, might have had a step or two. That pick, Ben, you talked about in triple coverage. You saw Isaiah Likely throwing up his hand like he was wide open too. But, Lamar Jackson, he was just off that you couldn't. And just back to the pick, terrible pick game plan, like gaming wise or like timing of the game. Like you have to at least come away with 3 in that situation, really set them back. So, bad game for Lamar Jackson. And again, just going back to the Chiefs, though, Patrick Mahomes, those first 2 drives, masterclass, really just proving why he's just a step above everybody else in the league. Like Ron was talking about the difference between, what Ron likes to call a superstar and a star. Patrick Mahomes is a clear-cut superstar, and he's chasing greatness right now. So we'll talk about it later when we go into the Super Bowl matchup. But Patrick Mahomes, once again, to me, proving that he's the best quarterback in the league.
And what if you don't think of Lamar showing all that frustration all game long? Like he was really showing.
Yeah, throwing the
insanity.
helmet off. Yeah, bro, you
Yeah.
don't do that, bro. You don't do that because that just goes and everybody else looks at you as a leader and they're like, oh, this guy's throwing his helmet. He's all frustrated. Like, that's our leader, bro. Like, you're supposed to be the one, helping us stay motivated and helping us stay focused and saying that we still have a chance to win. And you're over here throwing tantrums and stuff. And since I have the mic, I'm going to say real quick, how the hell were they giving Kelsey so much space off the line? They were off him like 4 or 5 yards. The guy was doing whatever they wanted. I think he had like double-digit catches. It seemed like in the first half, bro. So
Well,
I don't
the
know
way
what
the
the hell
Ravens play
yeah.
defense, Ron, Kyle Hamilton guards the tight ends, so he's already further back.
I know, but that's why
they don't have a linebacker.
Kelsey.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
they
the Chiefs
fixed
and
it
it's
in the
Kelsey.
second half.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then to your point, Ben, that's why it really does come down to the offense and Lamar Jackson. The defense did their part in the second half. So many miscues. Zay Flowers fumble, even though he had the flag right before that, he almost made up for it. Still fumbled. Lamar Jackson again, that terrible pick. Just they had the game right there. There's so many opportunities to win the game, and the Ravens just like you guys were talking about. They maybe were flustered inside their own heads. You saw Lamar Jackson super frustrated. So I'm with Ron almost. Like you got to see it to believe it with Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team now, because it's clear that there's just a hump that they can't get over at this point.
Yeah, Roland. So you talked about the Chiefs putting the Ravens on their back foot right away, opening script. They go out and get 7 right away, and they make the Ravens play from behind. How big of that was a factor in this game?
Oh, it was a super big factor. I mean, it was apparent from the beginning. As soon as the Ravens scored, you can tell that the Chiefs, as soon as they scored that first drive, you can tell the Ravens were already trying to go like full throttle with their game plan, and then they come back and score again. So that definitely played a huge factor in this game. That's a great question, Justin.
Ben, Ron, anything else you want to cover on this game before we move over to the NFC Championship game?
Isaiah Pacheco, bro. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco is a solid RB1. I know he's small and he has those little injuries, but everybody thought that, this defense was going to hold him, and he still had his success, man. Dude just runs hard. Isaiah Pacheco, a gem for the Chiefs. And then I will say, when they're going for it at the very end to just run out the clock, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, that dude drops everything. And he catches a ball, falling on his ass, bro. Like vertical to the ground. That was crazy. That's the playoffs.
Yeah, and you got to think the Chiefs are kind of peaking at the right time, Ron. Right, the way they've been playing these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But again, I will agree with Ben's statement in that I don't know if they went out there and won the game. They didn't score any points the second half, and they didn't look as in sync as they did. I know Kelsey went off, but other than him, everything else, for being the Chiefs, they didn't look like, they're up, they're going to stretch out the lead, and they're just going to crush, the Ravens. They still let the Ravens kind of hang around. So I'm still not completely sold on them. The performance wasn't great, but I mean, this is what you want to have going into this damn Super Bowl is all the momentum in the world. Yeah, all the momentum in the world. Whether it's ugly or bad, you're getting dubs.
So not sold on the Chiefs
I mean,
yet.
Ugly or good. Not like I can't say. Yeah,
you're not sold on this fellow named Patrick Mahomes yet.
All right, let's get over.
Crazy.
Right?
That's crazy.
Let's get over to the team that Ron is sold on, who pretty much needed a miracle catch and a coach to just shit himself when it came to coaching. Dan Campbell just shot himself in the coaching situation to win. The Niners win 34-31. Ron, I'm going to kick it to you first because it seems like you're sold on the Niners, even though they needed all these things to happen to win this game. What'd you make of this game?
The Niners are scary when everybody's on, bro. And then you're getting catches off the face mask of the defender going to IU because a ladybug landed on his cleat and shit.
There
but
you go.
I mean, honestly, man, I didn't want the Lions to go against the Chiefs because you cannot trust their defense. And I just rather trust the Niners here, boys. And I think that's all I'm going to say. I already said 999er gang, so I'll let y'all keep going on this one.
Roland, tell me what you think of this game. I mean, this is 2 weeks now. A miracle in Green Bay, and then here. What?
Dude, crazy game, honestly. When 34-31, the Lions came out, punched them in the mouth, and you asked last week, you said, Roland, who would you rather take in this coaching matchup, Shanahan or Campbell? And I said, you know what? Campbell, he blew that game against the Cowboys. Like we talked about that, but I said, give me Campbell. You know that he's dedicated to his craft of going for it on fourth down. He's going to be on attack mode. But we saw him kind of double guess himself at times. You saw them going for it in fourth downs where people thought maybe they should have kicked a field goal. You saw Josh Reynolds on one of those fourth downs have a crucial drop, so that could have changed the outcome of the game right there. But he kicked a field goal in one situation in the first half, and then he comes back in a similar situation. You think you got to tie the game, but instead he goes for it on fourth down. The 49ers come back and make it a 10-point game, and that's really all that she wrote. But from the Lions' perspective, crazy game because they came out guns a-blazing, but it just really comes down to those fourth down decisions and them not really coming through for them when it had been coming through for them all year for that matter. So hats off to them, but you kind of saw the miscues of the coaching decisions there and how it can affect a team and be the difference in winning and losing. So I'll let Ben talk about the Lions and or his perspective on the 49ers too.
Ben, so who do you blame more, the Lions defense or the coaching miscues?
I think you got to blame the coaching because, like Roland alluded to, people were thinking that they were going to go for it at certain times. I thought before halftime they were for sure going for it with that lead that they had, and they were, I believe, like inside the 5-yard line. He ends up sending out the field goal kicker for, a 20-yard field goal, whatever it was. So I don't see why you kick it there and you don't kick it at the end of the game. I mean, maybe, yes, the momentum was gone from them, and he thought, shit, if we tie the game and go, it's been all San Francisco for the most part in the second half. You're the team on the road. You kind of got to go for it. When in basketball, they say the road team always has to shoot the 3 at the end of the game because you never want to go into OT. So I get where Campbell was going at the end, but I mean, maybe if you do that same thing at halftime, you're in a different position. If you're going to stick to your guns, stick to your guns. Don't waver, at certain times. So he said it himself. He said it was going to be 2 times harder for them next year. They got really good news today that Ben Johnson, their OC, declined the Washington job and the Seattle job. These dudes didn't even have to give him a pay raise, bro. He just came back off the strength of, we have something good going here. Dan Quinn the last couple of years with Dallas and the defense. But that's awesome for them because I thought it was going to be a huge blow if he left because we've talked about it here. That guy's a wizard. Yeah. They come back next year with, half of their core being rookies and Gibbs and Laporta.
Big salary cap. They got so much to spend, Ben.
Got to fix that defense.
Yeah, you got to fix the defense. And like Aaron Glenn, man. Oh, look, Lou in the comments. Shit. Surprised to see Lou here. Shout out Lou for showing up.
I think Josh Reynolds, I think he had 2 big drops. He had that fourth down, and then I think he had another crucial drop later on in the game. But
the fourth down screams so much because you extend that drive, everything changes there.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Rainey, man. Big Rainey's in the chat. He came over earlier, and he actually got a We Talking About Sports shirt, and I got one of his. But he's a huge Lions fan, as you guys know. And I mentioned right away, hey, the defense is bad. And he's like, well, we went out in free agency and we grabbed, I can't remember who their names were, but they grabbed 2 of the top, DBs. One of them got hurt the first game of the year. And then the other one with the double last name, I'm going.
Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, he got hurt the second game, and he really didn't play all year. He just came back a couple games ago. So, I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, he's a diehard Lions fan, so he would know. So I think if they're back fully healthy, then that defense already gets better. And then, like Justin said, you can go out and spend all this money on, even better players. Goff, we were talking about it. He's not great in outdoor games away. He showed out. Gibbs was absolute. Gibbs is a freaking. Ben's talking about fantasy football all the time. That's a guy you're going to want to go out and get fantasy wise. Sure. Laporta is another. They're just right now, bro. It's perfect because they have like the OGs on the team and the rookies, but the rookies are actually killing it. So I think they're going to be scary next year, man. They're going to have this loss.
I love that O-line too, Ron.
Yeah. I mean, I think they had a couple of them running out for passes on some crazy formations.
They had Penei Sewell, in
he was
motion.
Like going in motion.
Yeah, your right tackle was in motion half the time. And honestly, that dude's a left tackle on any other team. That O-line is stacked.
Yeah, man, they're going to be really, really good. I'm excited to see them and the Packers kind of go head to head because the Packers are another great team. So the NFC will be tough.
Yeah, NFC North,
The NFC
tough
North,
division.
man. You kind of have this little bit of sentiment. You are sad that they lost a Cinderella story. You would have loved to see them in the Super Bowl, but I don't know, man. I still think that they maybe choke in the Super Bowl opposed to the Niners.
Yeah, and I do got to talk about the
Sorry,
Niners
Rainey.
a little bit here because they won the game 34-31. They had that comeback. We talked about the miscues of the Lions that really tipped the momentum in the 49ers way. But I got to give the dude Brock Purdy. I think he came through. Didn't necessarily have the greatest first half, but he made a lot of clutch throws. He stayed in the pocket, was making some throws. He turned into Brock Vick at times with his escapability. Yeah. He had a couple of long runs. So he really, gave you everything in this game. And he made the plays that he had to make. He got lucky. Ron alluded to it with that Ayuk throw. Could have easily been a pick, but it went in his favor, capitalized with the touchdown. So 49ers did their job. Brock Purdy, got to give him his due because he was looking pretty sus these last couple of weeks. But he definitely came through and showed why the 49ers are in the position that they are.
And he did struggle at the beginning of the game, but he adjusted and he showed why he's was in that MVP race at least. But I have a question for the viewers tonight and you guys as well. The viewers, go ahead and put it in the comments what you think here. Which of these two teams will most likely make it back to the conference championship game? I will start with you, Ben, just because I think I might know where you're going with this, with the news that we got today with Ben Johnson coming back for the Lions. Which team is most likely to make it back to this conference championship game?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions. I think that this division is theirs to lose with the way they have it set up. I know the Packers are young and up and coming, but this is the Lions division, I think, for the time being. And you all said that they have a bunch of cap space this offseason. So hopefully they go stack up the roster, maybe bring some vets. Wouldn't even mind, I think Ron said, a veteran receiver. You wouldn't mind, seeing somebody on the other side of St. Brown. So I think the Lions are set up pretty good for the next 5 years.
Ron, what about you? Ravens or Lions? Who's set up to come back to this championship game?
Oh, well, I don't know. The Cowboys are going to be there next year for sure. So we got to see who's going to go up against them. But no, man, give me the Lions, bro. I mean, they're already set up to win now, I think. And the Ravens are just more of that regular season squad. And just shit, man, the Lions are just good, bro. The Lions are just really good. So give me the Lions to come back next year.
All right, Roland, you know how hard it is to get back to these games. What do you think? Who's gonna have the better odds to make it back next year to this championship game?
Just to answer the question, you just put it greatly. It is really hard to get back there, but just between these two, I will go with the Lions because I think the landscape is a little bit tougher on the AFC. The Ravens, they really had their chance and they blew it this year. It's really it proves how hard it is to get back. They still got to go through Josh Allen. Joe Burrow was hurt this year. So, there's a lot of teams out there that in the AFC that the Ravens will have to get through to get back to this game. So just because of that, give me the Lions to get back.
Yeah, I'll go with the Lions as well. Just given the salary cap situation for the Ravens, they're going to be losing some stars. They got to resign some guys, and it's going to be hard to get all that talent back. While the Lions are going to have pretty much that young core all back, and then just going to be able to make some moves in the offseason. So you got to like their chances of making it back. But again, it's so hard to make it to these games. Dan Campbell even admitted, you might not get this one again. He knows it, but given with the offensive coordinator coming back and all these things in play, you got to like the Lions over the Ravens to make it back to this championship game.
Hey, is their defensive coordinator going to go anywhere? Or who was the coach from the Ravens who was getting looked at for head coaching jobs? Is he going to bounce?
Not entirely sure.
Not too sure.
There's two jobs left, right? For sure it's the Commanders in Seattle. So depending on, who gets interviewed for those two jobs.
I thought the defensive coordinator for
the Ravens, both
for the Ravens.
Is Dan Quinn going to get interviewed by the Seahawks after all?
I don't think so at this point. The way that last game went down, I don't think you're getting an interview. We'll see.
Bueno, what's next, dog?
Let's get into it, boys. This is it, the Super Bowl. Now, the 49ers did open up as minus 2.5 point favorites. The line moved down Money came in last night on the Niners and the unders, and we got back to -2 for the Niners. Roland, I think I know where you're going to go on this one, but just looking at this initially, I'm sure we're going to have more shows throughout the week for the Super Bowl, but I just want some odds on what you think. Where do you like your bet to be at in this game?
Man, honestly, I'm not going to make it harder than it has to be. I'm not going to go against Mahomes again. I'm just going to start with Patrick Mahomes. I know the 49ers, they were another team that expected to be in this spot, so they're a tough team. They're the favorite, but some money came in on the Chiefs to start. Got in. They were as low as like 1. I don't think this will get to -3 per se. I think you might see -2.5, but I really do like the Chiefs in this spot. Give me the Chiefs over the 49ers. Yeah.
You don't think that there's a better chance of it even getting closer to pick them, though?
I think there's a better chance of it getting to pick them than it does to -3, for sure. But I think it'll stay around like 1.5 or 2. I don't see too much movement past this point because the 49ers, you can't really lay 3 with them against the Chiefs like that. I mean, that's 3 straight games that Patrick Mahomes will have been an underdog. So I just give me the points.
All right, Ben, what about you? You going with the villain Chiefs or are you going to go with the Niners here?
I'm surprised to see the Chiefs as the underdog again, but man, just stop Kelsey, man. Like,
yeah, dog.
Man.
Well, it's not.
What's wrong with Kelsey?
No, like nothing's. The thing is, like that's all you have to concentrate on. Like the Ravens failed to do that in the first half, then they got it together. I'm saying like this 49ers defense is probably, the worst it's been in the last couple of years, right? But you got one guy you need to worry about, man. Like they're not even going to beat you over the top. Just guard this guy, Travis Kelsey. And I think that with 2 weeks, I mean, Debo's going to get healthier. I know he wasn't, the biggest of issues for the Lions this past week, but with a lot of time to game plan. I mean, I know Andy Reid off of a bye week. We talk about that trend. I know Kyle Shanahan off of a bye week is really good as well. But, bro, the Niners defense, one time, just lock in on 87, and I think that they can get it done. We talked about how that weak Kansas City run game is. You got Christian McCaffrey, the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. Shanahan didn't go away from the run, even though he was down pretty big against the Lions. You saw the Ravens go away from the run after they were down 10. Harbaugh stuck to it. That's what ended up winning them the game. Right now I'm going against – I'm picking the 49ers, but like you said, Justin, we're going to have other shows, so I do reserve the right to change my mind.
Yeah, for sure. This is way too early pick.
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be news throughout the week. We got some news today. Charles Omena, who ended up tearing up his ACL, we weren't privy to that news yesterday. So as we do shows, you have the right to change up until the week of. I think we should set a date where we finalize picks.
I'm leaning 49ers.
All right, Ron, this is your way, way early Super Bowl pick. Where are you going with this one?
Niners, baby. Niners, because I talked about earlier in the show, hey, I got to see it to believe it. And shit, dog, Brock Purdy is making me see some crazy stuff out there.
Bro, you just said
Ron, you just did that backwards, cuz.
You said you have to see it to believe it with Lamar. Because okay, you don't believe it no more. Mahomes is shown.
He's so not sold on Mahomes.
That's what he's gonna fly right now.
It's because Mahomes.
Just say you don't like Mahomes and the Taylor Swift thing. It's more respectable to say
that. That's clear. That's clear and obvious. But Mahomes didn't have a great game. I mean, in the championship. I mean, did he
put up
really
17 on a pretty good Ravens defense?
But one of them was a fumble. And they got the ball in short field, and I mean, he wasn't. He
wasn't. He wasn't.
Like he didn't have man.
That last throw to Valdez-Scantling, I mean, that was right there, and that was.
I mean, he was 77% on the day. I mean, completion percentage. I mean, 240 yards. That's not bad.
Because Kelsey had like 5 rooms of separation between any close defender.
Well, who schemes it up well?
You're going with the Niners.
Schemes it well.
Yeah. Justin lets me finish here.
Okay, go ahead. The whole story was crazy that you have to see it to believe it when you.
Well, yeah, because Purdy's showing me out, dog. Like this guy doesn't even make $1 million. Everybody's seen those memes, like 870,000 and Lamar's over here got like 88 million. Fucking Arch Manning is making more than this poor kid over here, bro. Like, hey, come on, dog.
He's hungry, right,
Hey,
Rob?
I will say
Yeah, he's hungry.
didn't talk about it too much, but the Chiefs, while they have a weak run defense, I think they have the overall better defense in this matchup. They've had the better defense all year. Their secondary is really strong. You saw Snead making a lot of big plays, including that forced fumble. He's been one of the better corners all year. You know about that D line with Chris Jones. Even though he's a little nicked up, should get healthy. But the Chiefs, surprisingly, I think they have the better defense in this matchup. So give me the Chiefs again. But we'll talk about it later, like Ben said.
Yeah, I just think that there's too many weapons. Like San Francisco, if they're on, bro, and they can hit their ceiling, they can't be stopped. I mean, let's not forget, this is a team who Christian McCaffrey was scoring a touchdown every single game. You know, they did go on that three game losing streak, but other than that, they've been solid all year round, bro. If they're on that night in Vegas, there's a possibility that it could get away from the Chiefs. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm looking forward to the media week also. I mean, these are the brightest lights that Brock Purdy's ever gonna have played under. You know what I mean? So that's a whole new obstacle for him as well. Yes, all the weapons are there, but you know, we've seen him kind of slow down, trip up, you know, early in the playoffs, especially that Packers game. So they do have to overcome that. So I am interested to see, you know, the media availability and, you know, kind of how everybody's feeling.
Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna start, you know, again, like I think I'm also coming from a point of view is like I'm just gonna start treating the Chiefs like Tom Brady and the Patriots and you know Nick Saban and Alabama. I'm just not gonna go against them. It's just there's smarter things to do with your money than go against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in situations like this. So
especially catching points, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Who did
That's fair too. I get where you're coming from. Some people are sick of it. Like they don't want to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win another title. Just like
I understand what I'm doing.
It's like seeing LeBron and Curry like all those years in the finals. I mean, we get it. But who did the Chiefs play in the first round real quick? After they played
the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Oh yeah, the Dolphins. So all their wins haven't impressed me, bro. Like neta, they really haven't been impressive wins.
So were you impressed with the 49ers win over Green Bay?
Go on the road against the Bills.
Or the 49ers home game against the Lions? You were impressed by those wins?
Because they're comeback wins, bro. You got to fight. You got to be a fighter to win those games,
right?
bro.
They're not
showing hard, cuz. You know, I want that squad. I want, like Ben says all the time, he wants those dogs. And there's some dogs on the 49ers side, bro.
Yeah, I think that tight end's a dog. The way he was blocking was pretty crazy. I think McCaffrey obviously has the talent. He's a dog. You know, Fred Warner, definitely a dog. You go to Debo, as long as he's healthy, dog on the field. Ayuk, I mean, Jennings, they got the players.
Yep,
they definitely got the names. Baby. The names come with the Niners.
They're overdue, bro. Like the Niners are overdue a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what
they've
I'm
been
saying,
starting
bro.
with the Super Bowl for 5 years and haven't gotten done since the 90s. They're due. I mean, their Super Bowl comes before Dallas' Super Bowl. They're due.
Okay, so cap it off. What's your pick? We already gave ours.
Bro, I'm with Roland. I ain't betting against Mahomes. I'm just not. I've seen Mahomes do it now. I did it against him last week, which was crazy of me. I didn't want to, but I was like, enough of the Kelsey and the Taylor Swift thing. I'm not gonna do it no more. Screw that stuff. Mahomes is the guy.
I can't believe as a Cowboy fan you would say that, bro.
You with the Niners as a Cowboy fan.
I'm going with the Niners, bro. I
Yo, Ben.
Pick the Niners, and shout out Irv. It's his birthday. So
hey, what's up with you on the chat? Everybody in the chat. Niners or Chiefs, real quick.
Let's hear from the chat. Are y'all taking the Niners or the Chiefs? You taking the over or the under? What are y'all liking?
It's gonna be a lot of Mahomes.
I think there'll be some points.
So you're with the over rolling on this one?
Well, what's it set up?
Yeah, what
highly favored over 47 minus 112, under 47 minus 108.
Actually 47 is a little high. I see like a 24-20 type victory here. I'd go under.
I like the under as well.
Yeah, the money came in on the under last night, so that's why it was like that.
Yeah.
And like the way the Chiefs have been playing,
they've
just been kind of moving the chains, killing clock, long drives. They don't. I mean, we know that they don't have the cheetah there anymore, but that explosive part of their offense is long gone.
Nico Chiefs.
Hey,
Of
Rasheed
course.
Rice is nice though. Rasheed Rice
Yeah,
is
he
a stud. I think he's shown that he's the number one receiver on this team. I think maybe going into the off season, maybe they'll add something. But I think Rasheed Rice, they got something to build off of with him.
definitely.
What do you-
Some more narratives here. Let's just go to coach. You got Shanahan, really can dial it up, and you got Andy Reid. Roland, who do you favor here? These are two great coaches.
Man.
Shanahan, has been around the Super Bowl for 5 years now. He's kind of been around there. Andy Reid has actually got it done. Where do you go with this? Who are you favoring?
I'm favoring Andy Reid to cook up something in this game plan. I'm not to say that I dislike Shanahan because I think he's a good coach also, but he hasn't really come through and won the big one. I think he was on the Falcons coaching staff. He was that offensive coordinator in the 28-3 debacle against the Patriots, come up short with the 49ers and Jimmy G a couple years prior against the Chiefs. So give me Andy Reid.
Ben, what about you? Does the head coach have any influence on you in your pick this week or for next week?
I think that they're both great coaches. You got to give the nod to Andy Reid, obviously, because he's got the rings to show for it, and he's been in the Super Bowl for that long. But Shanahan has been knocking at the door, and I think everybody thinks that he is a Super Bowl caliber coach. He just hasn't gotten over that hill. So, he should be joining the club pretty soon.
Okay.
Well, I see the chat's talking about Tony. Ron, what do you think about Tony getting benched, and then him coming out on IG and saying that he wasn't hurt?
He's a dumbass. Flat out, bro. The team's saying hey, we're gonna let you down, chill, and say that you're hurt because you suck, and we can't just say Tony has been cut from Super Bowl roster or playoff roster or whatever. You don't want to put that narrative out there. So you say you're banged up, bro. It's just not letting everybody throw shade on you. So pretty dumb for him to come out and just say that because obviously they're trying to cover for him. But
not only that, but that's not a good look. With other teams, also, who wants that type of baggage? And I'm waiting for him to make his press run. He's got to go on that CT
like a slap in the face. He's gonna be walking around the press with J.R. Smith without a shirt on.
Do you think they're gonna give him a chance to suit up for the Super Bowl, or is it lights for him?
No shot, bro.
After that dumbass comment, you said man, you really shot yourself in the foot. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, if they did that and then you went and threw them under the bus and made it public, I don't see it at all. That's just a distraction that they don't need.
I will say real quick on the Shanahan, I think I'd rather take Shanahan now because people forget that didn't Brock Purdy mess up his shoulder? Was it last Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game?
Yep.
So he's never really had a fully healthy squad in such a huge game like this. And it's time. And there's not a conspiracy theory, but what was it? McCaffrey's dad and his dad won 3 Super Bowls together, and now their sons have a chance to win it together, which is pretty cool. If you're an NFL fan, you like stories like that. So I don't know.
We'll reach out to Kadarius Toney. I doubt he'll come on, but definitely hit him up on the DM.
We'll send some feelers out for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy,
I wonder if he's even practicing with the Chiefs at this point. Is he even invited to Super Bowl practice?
I don't know.
Because maybe he has some good practices he shows, but is he even invited to that?
This is just better not to risk it. If you have him on the field, I don't want to call him a liability because he is an electric player and he did score in the Super Bowl last year. But like Ben said, he kind of is a liability. When he drops it, he just tends to throw it up in the air and you just can't trust him.
What's gonna happen is the Niner defense is gonna be like, oh, Tony on the field. All right, leave him alone. Let's shade over to Debo. Everybody shade over to Debo over here. They ain't throwing him the ball. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I don't think that he plays at all.
Well, again, we'll be bringing more content as news and things come along for the Super Bowl. We just kind of wanted to get into it real quick, especially with the championship games. Maybe next Tuesday we'll have something else with more news and with the Pro Bowl already happening and just different, maybe even coaching hirings. We'll get more into depth with the Super Bowl and the news that comes out for sure, boys.
And we're working on something for the props for the NFL. Like the national anthem time, coin toss, Gatorade color, Taylor Swift. We're gonna throw some Taylor Swift props in there, but we'll have a We Talking About Sports prop sheet. And if people are down, we can do $5, $10, and whoever gets the most right, can end up getting the pot, like some of the contests that we've done so far.
What's your favorite Taylor Swift prop?
I think the one that's been going around if he will propose after, that's my favorite one. I mean, because
Bro, how we
the
on here
obvious
talking
ones are
about
going to be
this?
like how many times they cut to her, during the game. So there'll be an over under on that. But the proposal one that's floating around is pretty entertaining.
You know what? You know what, bro? You know what I hope happens with that, bro? I hope that he does it and he proposes, bro, and she says no, bro.
I think she would.
That'd be
I think she would.
sick, cuz.
But
I
I
would
don't
say
think he
no
will.
after he won the Super Bowl.
I don't think he will,
Hey,
though.
there's already that story that broke out that he told her he loved her after the game and she didn't say it back. So you never know. Maybe there's
Yeah.
trouble in paradise.
That happens
No, but
all the
I was
time.
gonna touch on Nico's comment real quick. He says, "What's the DraftKings starting lineup or what?" I'm starting Kelsey, Kittle, McCaffrey. Maybe we can do a contest like that too. Maybe we can do a DraftKings one and then do bands or something. And I want to kind of do like maybe give away a prize pack. We could give away a couple hats and a beanie, or a hat and a beanie, or something just to kind of say thank you for everybody. It's free, totally on us. And if you win the contest, you can win the prize pack. So, like Justin said, there's 2 weeks left for us to, have fun with the Super Bowl till the NFL is officially kaput, over and done with this year. So we'll come up with something, or if you guys have any ideas, DM us or put it in the comments, man. We want to give away some free stuff.
All right, boys. Anything else before we sign out here?
Nothing.
That's
Sure.
it for us
Ah.
this week. We'll see you probably next Tuesday with a lot more to talk about. Peace.
Later. Thank you, everybody.